I just got to get to your page. Where did I put it?
Oh, and we are going live. Are you ready, people?
Oh, nice
Welcome
music.
to Victory Speaks. It is Monday. Yep, all day Monday. Hope everyone's doing okay. And we are going to get set up here as we wait for people to come in. And before I introduce my guests,
Oh, nice music.
yes, we're playing some music by Calabash.
Oh, wow. That's going. That's nice.
We're going to get set up here as we wait for people to come in. And before I introduce my guests, do you love it? Do you love it? I love this music. Yes, we're playing some music by Calabash.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're having feedback here. All right, so we still want to more options.
This is going to be an epic conversation. You may hear him in the background a little bit. I love it. I love this music. Now, I am hearing.
Okay, I'm good to go. I've done the sharing, so I'm good to go.
And hopefully, so I hear there's a little feedback, so we're going to try and fix that. Hold on, people.
I think one of your pages is open.
I think one of my. Here we go. Here we go.
There we
Here we go.
All right.
We fixed that, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to share to my personal page, and hopefully everybody's seeing okay.
Hey everybody, what is up?
I'm going to bring him on. He's just ready. He's just ready to come on. You know, it's the Dr. Vibe is in the house. Now, are you getting any error messages? I think I'm getting an error message on my page, Vibe. How about you?
Mine is good. I think I'll just double check very quick.
I'm going to double check mine again. I just want to make sure we're good to go.
Yes, it's live. It's live on my page. I see it right now.
Okay. You know, it's always when you're going to have that epic conversation. Now, my phone is telling me that for some strange reason that we're having a technical difficulty. I don't know if you're going to have to
I see it. I see it on your page.
And it's telling me I have a technical difficulty on mine. I don't know why.
No. Let me just see.
Double check your page.
Well, my page is good. I'm going to check your page.
I'm just so glad when you have, you know, technical gurus with you as you do your stuff.
Is that what you call it? I'm a technical guru. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's see what's going on. I'm going to do a refresh. Okay, this video is live now. So it's on. I'm seeing it on your page.
We're seeing it on my page. Okay, showing on Victory Speaks page, but I don't know. For some reason, I can't get it up on my own personal page. But
I don't know about your personal page, but your Victory Speaks 77, it's live.
That's perfect. And I'm loving it. So everyone, come on in, come on in, come on in. It's going to be an epic time here at Victory Speaks. My guest today is Dr. Vibe from the Dr. Vibe Show. And unfortunately, I don't think I can share to my personal page right now.
No, I don't think so. I think you'll only share it to your one page, I think.
But normally it's just telling me it's not showing on my page. But I don't know why. I don't know why. What's going on?
One other thing to make sure on our end that you have comments clicked, other than not the private chat. So if people have comments, you'll be able to see it here.
Right. Okay. Sorry, folks, just for the little technical glitches, but we're going to get this right because you know what? I don't want to miss a part of this conversation for my own self, and I want people to tune in.
I don't want to miss it either.
Ah, you don't want you don't want to miss it.
I don't want to miss a minute.
All right, listen, Dr. Vibe, you know, yes. You are supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Do you know that?
I thought only Joan Pierre was that.
No, you are. And, you know, you are such an intricate, person in my life, a special person in my life. And I'm so glad that you are here to have this conversation with me on tonight.
Oh yeah.
Well, you've made my day. You know that, right?
You have made many days for me.
And, you know, it's so funny because when I think about having a conversation with you, I think tonight is one of those nights where I'm kind of like nervous. Can you hear me like stuttering? For those who know me, I'm like stuttering all over the place. What's happening here, people?
If you're stuttering now, next week's going to be even crazier. Hey, Dwayne. Hello, Dwayne. How are you?
So we got some people coming in. Welcome to Victory Speaks. And tonight my guest is Ed Go. And some of you know him as Dr. Vibe. So
more people know me as Dr. Vibe.
More people know you as Dr. Vibe. So I gotta do right by you, because you're not just any person. I'm gonna take you off screen for a hot second. And guess what I'm gonna do? We are going to I'm gonna give you like the real intro kind of piece here. So for those of you who don't know this man, I am privileged to have an epic conversation tonight with a man who has had over 2,000 conversations on his show. And he produces the only show to be regularly featured on the popular US-based men's website, The Good Men's Project. And they have over 6 million viewers. Do you understand why I'm shaking in my shoes right now having this conversation? And he has phenomenal experience working with fathers and men. And he's able to have such insight into men, into their journey. And it always blows me away. And I've been privileged to be under his wings. And, he has this phenomenal purpose. And I'm going to let him talk about that purpose tonight and his mission around Black men. It's really significant. And this year in April 2020, he had this project. I don't know if it's project, it's part of the mission, it's part of the destiny with Dad Central Ontario. And it's a collaboration with Dove Men's Care. Can you believe that? He's got a collaboration with Dove Men's Care. I know I buy that for my son and my dad. So that's really, again, as I say, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And he has connected with some serious powerhouses like Mario Armstrong and Kenneth Browell, and he's got awards. I'm speaking to an award recipient tonight, for his podcast and what he is doing. So I should have gotten like that round of applause thing to bring him on, but I'm just gonna add some more music as I bring on the great Dr. Vibe. Woo!
Greetings. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem.
Now, if I didn't tell you guys, here's what you need to do when you're having a conversation with the Vibe. You got to get your pen and paper out.
Oh, no.
He's going to drop some, as he likes to call it, nugget bombs.
No, knowledge bombs.
Knowledge bombs. Sorry, I'm flustered. Knowledge bombs.
Oh.
And he has these phenomenal quotes. Like normally I end my show with a quote that I find, but tonight I didn't look for any quotes because I know he's just gonna pull one up. Hey, Dwayne.
Dwayne, how you doing, Dwayne? Honored and pleasure to have you in the room.
So how are you doing today, Dr. Vibe?
I am outstanding. I'm very blessed. I had the opportunity this morning. I'm going to be doing some, people call it presentations. I like to call them sharing sessions. And there's an organization in Toronto called Building Up. It's a nonprofit it's a social enterprise. And what they do is they help this term marginalized individuals get into the construction industry. And they've asked me to come in and do 2 sessions over the next week. One session's with 18 to 29-year-olds where there's 12 participants, 3 of them are women. And then they have another cohort that is about 7 or 8 men from 30 to 50 years old. They've asked me to come in and talk about, I have a presentation, sharing session about 10 things you need to do before making an important decision.
Ooh, I like that. You're going to have to drop some of those knowledge nuggets.
Maybe tonight. Maybe tonight.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. And then there was a lady that I had a chance to speak with today. So I'll drop this. There is a hot social media app right now called Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Clubhouse.
CLUBHOUSE. Now it's been around since March.
Right.
But about the last month, it's got really hot. People like Oprah Winfrey, Van Jones have done it. And basically what Clubhouse is think about what we're doing here, but it's only audio only.
Okay.
And it's only available right now on Apple products, so your Apple phone, iOS, and your tablets. And basically it's like blowing up. And the majority of individuals that are on it right now are Black Americans.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff going on in that app. So I joined someone told me about it in my community last Friday. So I started checking out. Then I said, you know what? I'm going to host a room. So on Saturday evening, I hosted the room called Black Podcasters and Black Live Streamers.
Okay.
Wow. And that the knowledge that was being shared on it.
So I'm offended. I didn't hear about this vibe. I didn't hear about this Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah. So the thing is, you can sign up for it. It's basically they'll put you in a queue, and then someone from my community noticed that I was wanting to join it, and they got me in. So
it's really a Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's a real Clubhouse. So right now it's in beta. But then last night I co-hosted with a gentleman who's been on the Dr. Vibe show a few times, Galen Bingham.
Right.
We co-hosted a conversation last night called "What's Preventing You from Being the GOAT?" GOAT, which is acronym Greatest of All Time. And I'll tell you, the majority of people I've seen on this app are Black American women. So wow. If you are a Black American lady, if you're a Black woman and you want to, I don't like the word connect, communicate with other Black women, but the majority of women I've seen on there are Black American women, but per se, many of them professionals, doing really well, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of stuff going on there. Actually, though he's not Black, there's a gentleman, Lewis Howes. He hosted a room yesterday, and Lewis Howes is big time.
I've heard that name. Yeah.
Yes, big time. So he hosted a room yesterday. So, I'm doing them a promo. I'm not getting paid for it, but I'll just tell people right now what's being discussed in some of the rooms of Clubhouse right now. So someone's doing something on Marketing Mondays right now. There are 76 people in it. There's Clubhouse 101. Your bio is your content. Make your bio pop and get results. Now that started at 3:00. It's still going on right now.
Wow. No, this is serious. This is different. This is vibe. This is what you call epic. This is one of the things you call epic.
And there's 192 people in that room right now. 192 people. So one of the great things about this app is you don't have to be camera ready. It's all audio.
Okay.
So it's not recorded. So it's just basically a live stream. There's another conversation going on right now. Buy Black Business Shower. Come and make it rain on your Black business.
This sounds so fun. You see, okay, let's pause for a minute. For those who are now joining, this is why this is called an inspired conversation. And this is why I'm having Dr. Vibe on the show tonight, because I always learn something new when I talk to Vibe. And it would be very selfish of me if I didn't share. I didn't have you guys on.
Yeah, well, this is it. People don't realize we are in a sharing economy. It's not a hoarding economy. It's a sharing economy. So as I said, these conversations about B, it's what flows through me. So right now I'm flowing. So there's another room here, Cyber Mentor Mondays, choosing a career path in cybersecurity. There's another conversation going on right now, why every speaker needs a podcast.
Wow.
Nicole. There's another one.
Wow.
There's another one here, Ride the Wave, learning to flow in the prophetic.
So it's very phenomenal. They're really bringing some stuff in there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great content being provided on it. And like I said, from what I've seen over the last few days, at least 2/3 of the people on it are Black and predominantly Black American. So there's a lot of clubhousing going on. Get paid to speak by corporations, part 2.
So they've actually picked up on the whole thing where you can learn a lot of stuff. You can sit and listen, and I guess you have the option to participate.
You can just sit and listen, or you can participate. And if you want to participate, all you do is you just the images show who's on a call, like who's speaking. And then when you're muted or when someone's muted, it shows a muted button. And it also it gives you a lot of characters to set up your profile. It also, when you're doing your profile, allows you to connect your Instagram account and your Twitter account.
That's phenomenal.
So it shows on that. So yeah. So a lot of great. Here's a conversation. The breaking point: hair length retention.
No comment.
Right.
No comment.
Here's another one. Dream bigger. The death of standardized testing.
So this is some serious stuff. So tell me something. So you're doing all these phenomenal things, but I want to ask you a question tonight. What does victory look like for you in your life? Let the people get to know you, because you're always getting to know people. Let's get to know you a bit.
There's so many different facets of that, Nicole. And before we start, I want to give homage and a remembrance to Denise Jones.
Yep.
An icon of our community for many years. She's gone to a better place, and she touched the lives of so many people globally.
Yeah.
Not just Toronto, globally. And I just wanted to just spend a minute and give that remembrance. I also want to say outstanding conversation with Ms. Joan Pierre. Like, why you have me on, you're not nice, because you have me on between Joan Pierre and the person you're having on next week. That's not fair.
Well, hold on. Let's do because you mentioned Denise, and Denise definitely left so much in many of our lives. And she always greeted me with a smile and always had something beautiful to say, and a powerhouse, and she fought for many artists, and she paved the way for many. And I think it would be great if people really got to know who Denise was, and the legacy that she left, and the legacy that is still going on, because many of the artists and many of the people that are doing things now, and even events like Jambana, and what she did in the various communities and stuff, is legendary. And it's for like people like Denise that made me have that conversation with Joan.
Yep.
Because I'm starting the series of doing conversations called Trailblazers. Legends in the now, having conversations in the now with icons in the now. People who are alive, and letting people who are alive know that we love you now, but this is, we appreciate you, and how we want to see them. And it's important that we acknowledge people while they're here, and not hear all these great things about them in their homegoings.
Yeah.
And to tap in, like when I think about Joan, Joan went tobogganing this weekend at the age of 75 for the first time.
That's Joan.
You know what I'm saying? So that's
Joan.
These are the things that make me, stop and pause. And this is why I have you on, because you're a bridge, right? So you're talking about Joan, but you are a legend in your own right. And next week I'm having Mario Armstrong, and you were the catalyst who even introduced me to such a phenomenal Emmy Award-winning person like this. Yeah. And that's one of the things that, I should call you Dr. Vibe Bridge, or Ed Bridge Go. I don't know, but you bridge the gap for so many, and you bring so many into into the lives of us. You don't just do it for yourself. And that's why I'm going to come back to that question. What does victory look like for you?
Well, we could just land on that for the rest of our conversation, but it takes many facets. Victory to me, and you mentioned great legends like the Joan Pierres, the Denise Jones. Victory for me looks, one of the ways it looks like is when I can get some of their time and they just share with me. That to me is a victory because I'm getting part of their lived experience flow through me so I can have it flow through others. Perfect example, another gentleman, Denham Jolly.
Yes.
Just received the Order of Canada.
Yep, another icon.
And here's the thing. My dad and Denham Jolly have been friends for over 70 years.
Wow.
Right? So when my dad sent the email of Mr. Jolly receiving the award, I called him. And he said, thank you very much. Thank you. You're doing okay. And all that. And so those are victory moments where you can, I'm very much in, and I love what you're doing with this series because intergenerational conversations with our people is part of our foundation.
Yep.
And we're losing a little bit of that. And I'm glad that you're one of the, I don't like the torchbearer. You're at the tip of the spear in doing this. Right? You're doing the tip of the spear and that really came back to me because earlier on this year I was in Yellowknife, the Northwest Territories, at a conference with being held by their social services department, and they were doing a restructuring of their social service department, and they asked me to come up and speak to their frontline staff about engaging with fathers.
Wow.
And I was really humbled. I said, here I am, this bald-headed guy from Toronto, sharing on how to engage with Indigenous fathers. And there was many things that I gathered from that experience. It changed my life immensely. But one of the things I really enjoyed is that it was a 3-day conference. At the beginning and the end of each day, they would have an elder give a prayer. And then one day during the conference, they had a 3-hour, so an hour and a half session of elders talking about parenting in their time. And it was absolutely amazing. So when I came back, that was one of the messages that stuck in my mind, said, wherever I get a chance to have those intergenerational conversations, to have them, like a year ago, I sat down in Mr. Denham Jolly's house for an hour and a half, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Just what he shared, the stories.
That's what I know. Give us a little hint of something that you learned that was, you love that word epic, and it's, what was one of those epic things that came out of that conversation to you?
That he said, know your truth and live your truth.
Yeah.
And Denham Jolly is that he knows his truth and he lives it. He knows he ain't perfect, but that ain't gonna. And when you're committed to something, don't let anyone shake your tree.
Ooh, say that again.
Don't let when you know something is right and you're doing with the right intent, don't let anyone shake your tree.
Wow. Now for folks just joining in, welcome in, and I'm talking to the phenomenal Survive.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Wayne. Hi.
Oh boy. You got your posse on me tonight.
And Dr. Vibe was just, we're just sharing about the icons in our community, and he was just sharing something Denham Jolly said to him when he had the opportunity to sit with him recently. And standing in that truth, owning your truth. But I want that quote again, because that quote you just said was just powerful. It's just sitting there with me.
Well, I'm going to try to remember it, saying that when you know something is right and you're doing it with the right intent, that's very, very important.
Yeah.
The right intent. Don't let anyone shake your tree.
Don't let anyone shake your tree.
Yeah, and I'll give you another great intergenerational moment I've had this year. I took about 4 or 5 months ago, I took my dad to his best friend's 85th birthday party. Right. And that's an event in itself. And at the end of the night, of course, my dad, being a teacher in the same public school for 38 years and of Jamaican heritage. So that when they asked for people to make speeches, he was the first one up. And he said 2 things that blew my mind. He said, first of all, he said, I've known this man longer than anybody here, even his wife.
Wow.
But this was the drop the mic moment. He said he has been my best friend for 70 years.
Imagine having a best friend for 70 years. And you know what? You know what is one of the things that's epic about that? I'm going to be dropping that word all night. Is that two men, Black men, having a friendship for over 70 years. And that pulls me into saying something here. I have my points that I want to make with you, but you touched on something, and it's your dad and his friendship. What is that significant thing for you with your dad? The importance of fatherhood.
Okay, so I'm gonna be open. I don't like the word transparent. I like to use the word open. My father and myself, we didn't have the greatest of relationships for a number of years, and I've said this on periodically with other people and sometimes live. When my father suffered a heart attack, that changed the relationship. When I had to, on the morning of his operation, I wheeled him in on his gurney into his operating room, and then waiting in the weight room with my mother for 4 hours, wondering if I'm ever going to see him again, and saying, wow, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done this. 4 hours, probably one of the most, if not the most introspective time in my life. And when the doctor came into the room, that brief moment of silence, you don't know what the doctor's going to say. And when he said he's going to be okay, I ran to the doctor. I got down on my knees and I hugged the doctor's leg.
Wow.
And I said, can I go see him? And he goes, yeah, go ahead. So when I come in there, what's the first thing my dad says to me? Oh, I can feel my toes now. I said, you damn scam. This has been going on for so long and you didn't say a darn thing. Right?
So that changed your relationship with your dad.
Yes. And now he calls me his best friend.
And what does that mean for you, though?
For me, that knows that when everyone else is away from me and can desert me, I've got an earthly father and a heavenly father.
Amen. Amen. So, when I think about fatherhood has been, a running theme for you, a running thing for you. You've been talking about fathers.
Fathers and men.
Fathers and men.
Both of them. Like, I consider myself a fatherhood and manhood advocate. And yes, predominantly, yes, it's with Black men, but I've had the blessing and opportunity to help men of all different backgrounds. Like, I've had times where I mentored a young man who's 17 years old who had twins, to an Italian gentleman in his early 50s that was in custody.
Right now, that, why was it important for you to start, being intentional about having conversations with fathers and with men about who they are?
Because I'll give you some interesting things. 80% of the suicides that are committed by people 40 and over are men. 80% of the suicides committed by teenagers, boys, men, they're screaming and nothing's coming out. This is me. People can push back on me, but if we can help our men and boys be better, they're not only going to be better for themselves, they're going to be better for their families. They're going to be better for the province, for the country, for the world. You
have me right there with you, because as I raise a son, I always tell people, we pour a lot of resources into girls, and it's not that we don't need it, and it's not that we have not been, dealt so many different blows, but what our men are going through, if the foundation isn't right, if the foundation isn't solid, if they can't stand in the truth of who they are.
So I know you want me to drop knowledge bombs tonight, so I'm going in.
Go in.
I'm going in. For the people who are watching live on replay, Yeah, it is a terrible statistic, Sarah. When I first heard that, that knocked me for a loop, and that made me more intentional on what I was going to, what I'm doing. But that just threw me for a loop, and just different things I'm going to jump on here. That every father has a father. The question is, where is that father?
Come on now.
All right. That's so important. If you want, our boys and men need that support. Absolutely. Here are two interesting questions. If you have a good relationship with a man, agree. We'll get to the mental health in just a moment, Dwayne. Thank you for bringing that up. Ask a man, and this is what I do with some men when I first meet them. How's your heart? Okay, now, okay, now, most men and males, because I believe there's a difference between a male and a man, and if you want, I'll get into that. They'll answer that question, how's your heart, by saying this. Yeah, well, I haven't worked out lately, da 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 da. I will say, I'm not talking about that heart. Nicole, you better come back on screen, because I know you're shaking your head. I can feel it through the screen here.
I'm typing, man. I'm typing.
How's your heart? I don't mean the one that they're working out. I'm talking, how's your emotional heart? And most of the time, and many a time, I've asked a man that, they look at me screw face, say, what are you talking about? Like, the only heart I know about is the one where I'm working out, doing my weights, doing my job. That's only one part. That's one part of your heart. There's the other part where many men are screaming and nothing's coming out.
And how do we change that? And the question is, how do we change that narrative?
That a great question. That takes time, because many a lady will tell me men don't talk. I say that's garbage. You have to you have to develop a relationship and earn their trust. Just like anything, but for many men and males, when their trust is broken, it's hard to get it back.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the things, I feel men feel it even harder than women. I find
they do.
We tend to talk, we'll talk a lot, but we have taught men, and let's go back. We have taught boys to hide their emotions and hide their feelings. And anyone listening here today on the live or on the replay, and they're raising, so if we were to start with the boys that are going to become men, what would be some of those things, even to your younger self, you would say, or to those raising that boy, so that they can embrace their emotions, that they can share what they really feel and not feel embarrassed, ashamed, alone.
It's interesting. You were watching Dwayne, great comment. They also hear this screaming in their head. Yes. Sarah, earning their trust so they can I'm trying to I should be a guest, not a host here. I'm trying to help the right. Last week we had a lady on, and Nicole went all in with her.
All in.
And I'll make sure I put the replay up soon. Dr. Cassandra. Wow.
Dr. Cassandra's the bomb. I want her in my life forever.
But she was so on point that we're in a fight for our men, folks. For a lot of men out there, or a lot of guys out there, the easiest thing is to quit. Anger or quitting. It's the easiest answer to escape.
But what do we say? What do we say to fathers and mothers raising their boys to help them get in touch with their emotions? Like you see Dwayne saying, to stigmatize the emotional male. Dwayne, you're going to be up next on this show. You keep it up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a show. Come on now.
You could have both of us on if you want.
I'm going to do that in a special. So we're going to be talking about men some more.
Okay. No, what can we do? I think we have to take time to get to know our men and our guys. And again, it's going to take time. because a lot of them, and this was Dr. Cassandra said something that I'm never going to forget. She said, a lot of guys out there have been devalued.
Right.
That just hit me in my heart. I said, they've been devalued. So it's going to take time for them to feel valued. It's not an overnight thing.
But how would you have made yourself as a young boy feel valued?
Well, again, when I was with my dad, it was all about education. Right. My value was my education. And to be honest, I felt at times I was more my dad's student than his son.
And I think that is a big point. And especially if you, and I'm going to speak for our community, whether you come from your African community, the Caribbean community, the Black Canadian, the Black American, education has been important and for many good reasons. But yet, COVID did something that we've been talking about for a long time, is that it revealed where people put who they were and their values. Like if you said to them, so how are you doing? Or what do you do? Or who are you? They started to tell you about their occupation.
I don't care about a person's application, to be honest with you.
And this has been our problem though, Vibe, is that we have not taught our boys and girls, and especially our men, how to value themselves outside of their education, how to value themselves outside of what they do. So if you're not a doctor or a lawyer, and you say, I remember my grandmother always used to say, if you're going to make sugar cake, make the best sugar cake. Yep. If you're going to be a garbage man, be the best garbage man. But we have put this onus on our men, as in particular, that they have to be these things to be, of value.
So I'm going to add on some things to that. And I know many years ago, I had some conversations with two men that blew Nicole away. I don't know if she remembers them.
Yes.
Yes. Dr.
They were from the Good Men Project.
They were part of it. Dr. Marvin Thompson and Glenn Barker, who used to run the Mankind Project in Chicago. And Glenn Barker.
I can't wait to talk to them. Just saying, Vibe. Okay.
Glenn Barker can break stuff down like like when Glenn talks, even though he doesn't look like us, he gets us.
Yeah.
He gets us. Hard. So, and this is how much respect I have for Glenn. When he talks, I shut up. I don't even say it. I just let him do his thing. I remember him saying, Dr. Vibe, boys make excuses, men take responsibility.
Woo, boys make excuses. Okay, just shut the front door there.
You can attribute that to Glenn Barker, though.
Responsibility.
Yeah. When he said that just like, that hit me. I said, whoa. Wow. And I'm so blessed these days that I'm getting knowledge from elders. Right.
And that's key, because here's the thing. And I want to get, we're going to have that whole men series. But I would love to find out from our elders that are male, what they have learned from their past that they would change up. They were resilient. They did all these different things, but that piece, when it comes to the emotional, our EQ piece, how would they change? Would some of them change that now? The whole EQ.
It's a great question. I think that some of them probably would, some of them may not, but I think it's a very good question. Actually, I'm very blessed. I host conversations on different platforms. One of the platforms I host on something on is on getting some feedback here somewhere. So that's all right. Maybe one of your windows is open.
No. Okay. I'll double check. You keep talking, Vibe.
Okay. I'm just sharing. I'm not talking. I'm sharing. We share. We don't talk. Right?
Sharing, Vibe.
On Men, so it's a organization called Men and Masculinity Summit. And they do something called M&M Explores. And there's a gentleman who I have monthly conversations with there, Robert Leung. And I didn't realize till recently, you see him, first of all, you don't think he's 70 years old. But then I figured sort of something out jokingly. His father was Asian and his mother was Black.
Wow.
And his wisdom And, you know, I'll thread you because you asked about victory. You talked about victory. He says, it's always good to hear from you, Dr. Vi, because you bring energy back to me. That's victory for me.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. If I can bring energy and light to anyone, that's great. And then on top of it, like bring a man, an elder, he's like mentored thousands of men. And here I am bringing energy to his life
And
and light to his life. That's victory.
That is victory. And that is like a humbling, as I think about it, that's a humbling experience. So
Yeah.
if we were to the fatherhood and your relationship with your dad and your passion for fathers, and you've said here you have a purpose to bring clarity to fathers and men's lives.
Mm-hmm.
You believe that the better men are, the better the world will be.
Absolutely.
What does that mean?
Well, I think that just a lot of men are not where they are. And I think if they just work on getting a little bit better each day, just a little bit better each day.
So what should that better be? Because, you know,
it can be, it's so many different dynamics. It could be saying hello to their children, asking how they did at school that day, and just keeping in contact with their family, right? Keeping in contact with their family, because if you're trying to do it by yourself, you're missing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every success needs a successor. Right. I didn't realize till a few years ago, I go, you know something? My dad gave me the same name as him. And I understand now that he gave me that name to continue on his legacy. So I said, I live up to and now I brought up that word again, intentionally over the last number of years, I spend time finding out his journey when he left Jamaica to go to Howard University. He was one of the first Jamaicans ever to go to Howard University. And then he drops on me, one of his teachers at that time was the late Toni Morrison.
What?
I'm going. So when we think about history's in our own family. And there again,
so important, Ed.
Yeah, and the intergenerational conversation comes there again. I wouldn't have known that unless he told me. I just went, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And again, and we talk about father. I look at my father, and when I was growing up, I didn't think much about him being a teacher until one day, the school that he was teaching at, they were celebrating their 100th anniversary. So I said, okay, let me go down, support. I walk into the school. In the foyer was a grand piano donated by the late Morley Safer of 60 Minutes.
Wow.
Morley Safer went to that school because in that area, when that school had been around for 100 years, in its early days, it was predominantly a Jewish area, mm-hmm. Morley Safer being Jewish. So I go, okay. So I go up the stairs. I go into his room 305.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Room 305. And there I see him talking to different people. And I pulled one of the families aside. I said, how do you know my dad? He says, oh, he's taught 3 generations in our family.
How did that make you feel, Ed?
Humbled. I just went, wow. He's had a positive impact on 3 generations.
And every time we talk, the problem with us talking is that ideas start spurring, right?
No, it's not a challenge. It's a good thing because that's the way I am these days. When I have conversations with wonderful individuals like yourself, it says it's either other people I say, okay, Nicole, you need to speak with, and I'm going to get you to speak with, or this idea, I was on a Clubhouse conversation last night, and there's this lady who, my gosh, she's involved with the Black Congressional Black Caucus. She's dropping all these names, and she said, I'd like to get on your show sometime, doctor. I go, okay. So I said, so we exchanged phone numbers. We had an hour-and-a-half conversation today.
Wow.
And she said, you are such a blessing in my life. And we talked, and she talked to her, and she was actually the wife of a pastor, and the marriage did not go well. And
Mm,
she was,
mm.
she opened up about all the facets of it.
That's powerful. Wendy's saying something here that Wendy, you're right on point, because I was just going to say something to this. A father's journey also determines where the conversation piece comes in. Some men don't share that history with their children.
No,
I think
that's so
important.
important.
Like, one of the ideas that just spurred with me just now, it would be great to have conversations with fathers and older fathers, that intergenerational conversation with fathers.
It's coming. I'm doing that on another platform, but I'm more than happy to
Oh,
do
Lord
it.
Jesus.
But I'm doing. I'd love to do it here. You get two fathers of the same heritage talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, I think that would be huge and powerful.
But even how to interview your father, even how to, if anyone is listening now or on the replay, and people are COVID fatigued and stuff, and I hear all these different things, I can't do this the way I should have. I think there's such an opportunity right now to sit down, those who still have fathers around, whether it's grandfathers, great grandfathers. And I know somebody put down, I think it was Dio did something about the generations today. I'm going to put it up on my feed later, sorry. But sit down and interview the patriarchs and the matriarchs in your family. This is such an epic time. If you have them in your family, start learning history. Start recording the history.
Document your history. I've done over 2,000 conversations with people. They ain't going anywhere. As long as the internet exists, they're going to be there. So even, and I'm not speaking it, I expire after this conversation, there's something there.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity to control our narrative. That was one of the original reasons why I started the Dr. Vibe. So, because I said too many times I was watching the media, I see black men criminal or black men entertainer. And when I say entertainment, that's everything from music to sports, because sports athletes are entertainers. They get paid to perform.
Yep.
So I said I wanted to do something. In fact, I can show you the book that changed all that narrative. Oh, I have it here. Yeah, I do. I thought I had it. You use it. No, yes, I do. So I'm going to give a little history lesson here. Many years ago, when Dr. Vibe had hair, right? So if you're really nice to me, I'll show you one or two pictures like that. There was a great bookstore in Toronto. That's another thing we don't have much of in Toronto. Bookstores, where are they?
Yeah, they're dying.
So in fact, North America, there's a lack of that. But there was a bookstore in Toronto, St. Clair and Dufferin area, called Burke's Bookstore.
Burke, yep.
Run by the wonderful and beautiful Sam and Rita Burke.
Yeah.
Who the stores no longer exist, but they're still serving the community.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's a couple that would be great to interview, by the way. And
they would be.
And even today, they're continuing their service to the community. They are running a Ebony Toastmasters. It's a Toastmasters club. It originally was just for Black people, but it's open. They're still serving. Yes, a different book list. Yes, it's still there, but that's it. And there's one other, I think, in Brampton, if you're familiar with the Greater Toronto area, but that's based. Oh, Nile Valley Books too. Forget that. But I was walking one day after my university days saying I can't read another book because none of the books I read at university stuck with me. So I went into the Burke's bookstore and I picked up this book, Black Men, Obsolete, Single, and Dangerous, The African American Family in Transition, written by a gentleman named Haki Mahabuti. Sat down in Burke's bookstore, read the first chapter, bought the book, read the whole book in one night.
Wow.
And I said, that was one of my inspirations on what the Wendy's saying. The Burkes are amazing. We went to church together. There you go.
They are. And we've given them, I remember giving, when Joan, we did the African Canadian Achievement Awards, giving them an award. It was such an honor.
And they're so humble. They're so humble. They've done so much service for people. No ego. None.
And this is why our history is important. This is why our history, we have to start talking together as a community. I see Sarah saying, yes, record and document those histories. That is so important. And we need, those intergenerational conversations badly in our community. Yes, we do. And I just want to go back to something for a hot minute or two or three.
Or four.
Or four. Because we were talking about men and their mental health and their emotions, and and the statistics that you dropped there. What would you say to any man listening right now? It's gonna be two parts. What would you say to the men right now when they're looking at their mental health and some of them are just overwhelmed, so much is going on? And then what would you say to the women who need to support those men?
Okay. To the men first, ask for help. One of the things that is holding back many men, I'm not even going to further, many people in our environment, is they're not asking for help. When someone asks for help, I feel that they're moving forward. The energy it takes to not ask for help is greater than the energy it's going to take for you to get help. I'll leave it there.
That was good. No, say that again. The energy it takes.
The energy it takes to not ask for help is greater than the energy it takes to get help. I just thought about that. That was just something that just came right there. And then for the ladies, God bless you all, because we can be stubborn and cantankerous and at times. But especially, it's interesting, when I have the opportunity to help couples, one of the questions I ask them are you each other's best friends? This is just me. You got to have a friendship before you have a relationship.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah.
And most of us learn relationships by just doing it. We don't, it's not a book or anything like that. And ask that question, if you can, find out about that man's father.
Ooh.
Yeah, now I'll bring up a
story.
Why
is that important? Why would you say that?
I'm gonna give it an example, because everything I share, either I've experienced myself or I've had people who are ahead of me share with me. But this is one of my stories. In Canada here, at the end of each January, and Nicole's, where we have something called Bell Let's Talk.
Yes, we do.
It's basically one of the largest telecommunications companies in our country, Canada, because this is a global conversation, is Bell, called Bell Canada. Huge company, run by a gentleman named George Cope, who used to run a company called TELUS, he founded a company called ClearNet, which was an old cell phone company that got bought by Bell. Got bought by TELUS, but that's another story. So a few years ago, I was asked to host a conversation called Minding Our Minds. The event was held up at CAFCAN, Jamaican Canadian Association. So 2 days before, and this was an event to invite Black fathers to talk about mental health.
Right.
So Nicole, 2 days before the event, how many Black fathers signed up, you think?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
10?
3. Okay. How many Black fathers showed up?
50?
Not bad. 40.
Impressive.
Yes. So I'm going, okay. So Nicole is a great share, or people say presenter. And if you haven't seen her in action, please do it. All right. When we get out of this current situation, you need to experience her sharing, because she's very good at what she does, because she's passionate and she cares.
Thanks, Vibe.
Very welcome. Had my flip chart ready to go. I got an intervention, and the one above told me, you need to ask this question. I said, okay. So I asked the 40 Black fathers there, how many of you have or had a good relationship with your father? Nicole, how many hands went up?
5.
2. Okay. So I put down the flip chart.
That makes me just want to cry.
And that's where we landed for 3 hours. So when people tell me Black men don't talk about serious things, sorry, I beg to differ. And for 3 hours, Black fathers shared about the challenges and the impacts of the not great relationships they've had with their fathers on their life today. Men bawling. These are men that most of them don't even know each other, hugging each other, bawling, sharing. I had to kick them out.
Wow.
That was, so when you say earlier, how did you get the knowledge, or how did you know this is what you're supposed to be doing? That was one of the moments.
So this is a myth that needs to be, you're debunking that myth right now. It's not that men don't want to talk. It's men need safe places to talk. Men need
safe and brave.
I was about to say the brave. I was about to say the brave, because they need to have courageous conversations. They need to have people that will understand them and that would listen in a way that there's no judgment, because you have men that will judge.
Of course.
But they need that space. They need the space to give themselves space.
They need the physical space and they need the emotional space.
And so their hearts, how is their hearts? How is their
hearts? Yeah.
And I'm so concerned with the hearts of men and Black fathers even now, especially in COVID, as they supply. I am so concerned.
Oh, don't like, and the thing is, it's what we're not hearing about that concerns me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about. What we're not hearing about, because most people are behind closed doors. So you don't know. I
think, in this age of technology, I would encourage any man listening here live and on the replay. I don't know if Dwayne's still on here, but I think it's to have, I don't know if you guys are having it, because it would be a private session. I think there need to be some private Zoom sessions or StreamYard sessions or whatever.
Clubhouse is having piles. I'm actually going to be hosting some over the next week or so that they've been hosting them on Clubhouse. And again, if you can get on the Clubhouse, it's all audio. You don't have to be camera ready. And there's some powerful community conversations happening there. One of the things I do on a regular basis is at least once a week or during the week, I will call 3 or 4 different men, various, not the same all the time, and say one question. You good? That's it. You good?
And that's a big question. It's a small question, but it's a big question. You're good? And then they sit, and it's coming from you. So you were intentional about asking the question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's powerful. Really asking that question. And then how do we even ask those questions to the young people who aren't talking? Like when I think of the young boys and the lack of mentorship for boys, like how do we tap into what they're feeling or not and not saying?
And it can be as intense and challenging to get a young man's trust as it is an older man's trust.
Ooh.
Right? Because again, we don't know what they've been through, but you've got to accept them where they're at, not where you want them to be.
Accept them where they're at. Ladies, are you listening, including Nicole and Virginia Waldron? Accept them where they're at.
And another thing, too, is that I'm going to be general here. We are and a number of us are so concerned about programming, but we're not concerned about relationship.
Ooh.
Right? I am here on this earth because of a relationship between my father and my mother. Their relationship created me.
Yeah.
Why do I want to wreck a foundational principle?
Yeah. And we got to get back to that. The conversations is so big and it's so huge.
Right.
And Wendy's saying here, safe and brave places to talk, where most of them I work with or counsel did not either grow up with fathers or absent fathers that are living in their homes. The wall is huge. And I think the wall is greater than the Great Wall of China. and I sit here as a mom having a son. I sit here as an aunt having nephews. I sit here as having male friends and then adopted brothers like yourself along the way and go, how do we support our men? Because
you see, one of the things, Nicole, too, is we have to go where they're at. We can't expect them to come to us.
Right.
Yeah. And that is a form of respect that we're going onto their turf. We're willing to go where that. We can't expect them to come to us. Yeah. We have to go to where they're at and then get and get them to get we get their credibility. Like we get their credit. Like today, I went to Building Up and I had a chance to just sit in one of the younger cohorts, and the lady that was said, "Hey, you want to chat with them for a few minutes?" I go, "Yeah." Now most people say, I don't want to talk to these group of young people. Like, I don't know who they are. And I said, I just laid it out there and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I asked them this question. And here's a question for the men. What's the one thing you want to achieve before the end of this year?
It's a big question.
What's the one thing, not the 10?
Yeah, the one thing.
What's the one thing that and I don't care how small it is, I don't care how big it is. What's the one thing you want to achieve before the end of the year? Right? And then once you find that one thing, eliminate everything else.
And focus on that.
Focus on that. Hey, you may need to get some education on it.
Yeah.
There's something called the internet. There's something called YouTube. YouTube is one of the greatest educations in the world.
And you can get it for free.
There you go.
All you need is an internet connection.
Actually, let me put it this way. Before I got into those other two things, what's the one thing you want to achieve? And this is for everybody, not just men. What's the one thing you want to achieve before the end of the year? And if you achieved it, how would it make you feel?
Right. That's powerful.
How would it make you feel? Because when you ask that person, what's the one thing you want to achieve? And then you say, how would it make you feel? Wow, it would make me feel fantastic. Like there was a young person today at the Building Up. Yeah, I'd like to have healthy eating habits. Okay, well, that's really broad. Give me one area that you want to do better. She says, oh, drink more water. I said, okay, well, you've got a glass there. How many of these a day do you want to achieve? 3. And I could tell by her body language that 3 may be a little bit tough. Okay, let's just go for 2. Yeah. And it's funny. One of the other instructors said, hey, you know what? Why don't we do that challenge together? Victory. Because, right. Because she's not doing it alone, and there's someone going to do it with her accountability partner.
I'm coming alongside. And okay, so for those of you live on replay, I'm talking to Dr. Vibe. This is Inspire Conversations with Nicole. We're having an epic conversation, and this is how our conversations actually.
So what you're seeing, So what you're seeing on the camera here, that's the way we roll, folks. Her and I just roll, like we just roll because we're coming with, we care about each other, but we care about the people around us. That's what we really care about, and it's bigger than us.
And this is the piece, because one of the things that you just said, the other person in the room saw that this young person needed agreement. So there's power in agreement, and then there was the added piece. Now let me help you do it. And sometimes, so many times, we just look at people and say, okay, go do that, but we don't give them the tools, or we give them the tools and we don't give them the support. We give them the tools, but we don't give them the toolbox. I feel a word. I feel a word.
She should have brought it. We should have invited Dr. Cassandra.
Oh my God, I feel a word.
And here's another challenge I have for the men out there. Every man should have 2 or 3 other men that know everything good about him, but more importantly, everything bad about him.
Okay, I understand why. But let's break it down. Why is that important?
Because you have to have that ride or die people in your back. Because if you're trying to do it alone, man, if you're trying to do it alone, if you're not careful, life will kill you.
And it's killing the men.
Yes.
It's killing them in particular. Yes. It's killing them because, man, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
you gotta have your ride or die.
Yeah, you need to have that, because the situations are going to come up that you have. If you have a situation and you don't have anyone to turn to, wow, that in itself, that situation that could take care of you. Another thing, men, realize it. On average, women live longer than us. And if you don't know about that, next time when you start having family get-togethers, compare how many elder women there are there compared to elder men.
Yeah.
Right? So Our time, whether it's imposed by us or society or whatever, limits us. And let me go to another level. Actually, I'm going to interlude. If you want a good book, people, another great book, The Four Agreements. Oh, the lights
by
on me.
Don Miguel Ruiz. You don't even have to pull it up. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Read that book.
That book, I don't even know. I think somebody borrowed. I think unfortunately somebody may have borrowed my copy. I don't even know if it's in my library anymore.
Right.
But that book right there.
Right. Right. And I was sharing with this lady this afternoon. We have so people may find this strange, but men need to have some intimacy.
And what? Okay, break that down now.
Okay, what I mean by that is when I say intimacy, into me see.
Ooh.
All right. So if we have there's a lot of men's work that needs to happen. We have to work on ourselves, but we can't do it alone. We need to have that. What's the word I'm looking for? The ride or die guys. You have to have that team. You have to have those other men that are going to be with you in good or bad. Again, I use my dad as an example. He has two friends that have known him for his best friends have known him 70 years plus. They don't go more than 2 days without calling each other. I've seen it all my life.
And you know what? Here you see, like we are gonna both have to go back to this conversation and take notes, because I'm thinking of my dad. He's 81, and you know, some of his ride or dies are not here. And so how do we support them when their ride or dies are gone?
We have to step up. Us in our generation, we have to step up, because it gives us an opportunity. When we can step up, it gives them the energy to live another day. It also it's validating the stuff that they put into you.
Yep.
Right? They you know, the greatest thing I can do for my dad is him to regard me as his best friend.
That's powerful.
How many sons can say that of their dad?
That's powerful,
right? But again, and it was
special because not many men have their fathers, and not many men have the fathers that they can actually have relationship with.
Yeah. So I do not take it for granted. It is a huge blessing. 20, 30 years ago, I would not brag about my father. Today, any opportunity I get, and I tell him. I told him, I said, I was talking about you, or I was talking about you, I was talking about you, and it brings a smile to his heart. Here's another thing. Once a year or twice a year, my closest 2 or 3, we all go hang out with my dad.
Now that, I like that.
Now here's another thing. Those 2 or 3 don't have their fathers anymore. They refer to my father as they call him Pops.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know how much warmth that brings in his heart?
Yeah, that's part. You know what? This is part of like the Trailblazers thing, honoring, because people keep thinking that, you know, you have to be like, you know, you build that monument and you did that. But when you think of the civil rights movement, when you think of the activists and those who started in different parts of the world that are doing the works in the trenches and are leaving, you know, these are the people that did the work.
Hey,
for us to stand in right now.
I'm one of those. If I don't achieve something, most of the time it's because I didn't do the work.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that. And work cures a lot of challenges that we have in our lives. That's just me.
Let's go back a second. Sarah's like, yes, there's a word, into me see.
Yeah.
Hey!
And by the way, Sarah, I love your updated photo on Facebook. Beautiful.
Isn't she phenomenal, Sarah?
Oh.
And you know what? That's one woman I want to have on here. I think
you need to do that,
Sarah.
Yeah, you need to do that.
I'm going to have to come up to your level, Vibe, because for the amount of conversations I want to have, it's like I'm going to have a daily show. And you know what?
And what's preventing you?
Hush him out.
Because if you don't, I will. Well, both of us.
You already said it, and I think people don't know one of the ways that Dr. We met is that I was actually working on a friend of mine called me and wanted me to be a host for a television show. And we were working on a conference, and we taped 12 episodes of that show in Niagara Falls. We had people from all over the world. And we won't talk about what happened, but I mean,
it's in the past.
We had many great conversations. We met a lot of great people at the Truth Conference. And I think this is the rebirth of even doing some of those conversations. And, you know, thank God for the state of technology. I'm able to, hopefully I can get some of these people back and have some great conversations with them. So,
Nicole, I'm challenging you to do that.
God. Oh, God.
You see, Sarah's put it out there. So Sarah, I'm not going to get too deep into this. So if Nicole doesn't do it, someone has reached out to me from an organization. They basically said, Dr. Vibe, I'm tired of watching the morning news. It's so negative. We need you on every morning. So myself and this individual, we are in conversations about doing something like that. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on, but I also, should I drop my surprise, right? One of my surprises right now?
You should drop your, you know, okay, I'm just going to tell people, I'm talking with Dr. Vibe. We have these conversations. We sometimes forget the time. I don't even know how long we've been on the live. I stopped checking.
It's an hour and 10 minutes.
An hour and 10 minutes, definitely. It's about an hour because I was having technical difficulties on my.
About an hour. It's probably about an hour. So right. I'm not going to tax people's time much longer. Hopefully, Nicole give me permission to come back.
Listen, I do put in an hour show. If you your thing is my show's over an hour.
Yeah, you with Joan. You were forever with Joan.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be respectful of people's time in regards to. But so I said to Nicole, I said, let me see if I can drop something new. So I am now, okay, so backstory on this, and Nicole knows a little bit about this individual. There's a lady named V. Cherie Williams.
Woo! Hey!
So V. Cherie Williams is the publisher of the only online magazine that's dedicated to Blacks in food, wine, and travel. It's called Cuisine Noire. It's been around for 10 years. And I actually had V. Cherie on the Dr. Vibe Show back in 2011. So we have been keeping in touch for almost 9 years. So a few weeks ago, she called me. It's a few months ago. She said, Dr. Vibe, I had an epiphany. I want to start this new thing. And I want to start a not-for-profit or nonprofit in the U.S. dedicated to stamping out food insecurity in the African diaspora. I said, okay, V. Cherie, that's a great idea. And she said, so she has said, you know, I'd like to be on the board of directors. I go, okay, no problem. So realize this. Okay, so the name of the organization and the website went live today. So you're getting it hot off the press.
Okay, I'm sitting up. Hold on.
It's called the Global Food and Drink Initiative.
Whoa.
So I'll read you their mission statement. The Global Food and Drink Initiative is a multimedia not-profit dedicated to telling stories that share and preserve the history and culture of the African diaspora. Expanding the impact that started with our flagship publication, Cuisine Noire, GFDI is expanding important narratives during a time when authenticity and a celebration of one's roots and diverse culture matter more than ever. So
do I get it right? The Global Food and Drink Initiative?
Yeah, the website address is globalforfood.org.
Okay.
So V. Cherie and I discussed, say, yeah, okay, no problem, V. Cherie, anything for you, because we've had a really good working relationship over years and years. So you realize these are the people that are involved with this are some heavy Black Americans that are heavy hitters in food, sommeliers, and travel. Heavy hitters. So 2 weeks ago, she came to me and said, Dr. Vibe, I would like you to be the board chair.
What? Whoa. Let me put myself back on screen. Hold on there. You're vibing. Hallelujah. Congratulations. That's awesome.
So I am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
So that I'm very humbled. The site went live today, and she's actually sending out the media invitations out.
So let us
the press releases out to her media, because she has a background in PR and marketing, and I'm going to strongly say, people definitely go to cuisinenoirmagazine.com. So much great content. Oh, Sarah's going, what?
Yeah, man. Yeah. No,
So
this is great. And let us know, Vibe. Let us know how we can help. And I love Vishu. And I love Cuisine Noir. And Joe here was featured in Cuisine Noir because of you.
Yes. Well, and that's another thing. I've been blessed to have a number of people from the Toronto and Canadian food and industry, Black Canadians, being featured in that. I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm very humbled for this great opportunity. I don't even live in the country, and it's a U.S. organization asking me to be the board chair.
So the Victory Speak show would like to have Dr. Vibe and V. Cherie on to talk about the global food and drinking.
Okay, no, I can make that happen.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I can make that happen.
I'm making the announcement live here today, just like you made your announcement.
Yeah,
make it live here.
I will call her after we finish, and we can make it happen. Also, a recent person, actually, and life is such a blessing. There's a lady named Janice Bartley who's based in Toronto. She runs something called Foodpreneur.
Okay.
And that basically, it's an organization that helps. She's targeting people who look like us to get their products, food products, on shelf. I was able to get her featured in Cuisine Noir last month.
That's perfect.
And actually, on my show tomorrow night, myself and V. Cherie are interviewing Janice Bartley from Foodpreneur, and there is a potential collaboration between Foodpreneur and V. Cherie Williams coming to do some online education for people who are in the Black food industry.
And this, Dr. Vibe, is why you're my brother from another mother, same heavenly father, different father. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the way that you connect people. It's the way that you see the opportunities for not just for us to thrive as individuals, but to thrive as a community, and then to thrive globally. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions for the Vibe, let me know now, because as he says, he's a magnet for miracles and a solution for someone.
Someone's, not everyone's, but someone's, right?
I mean, that's the thing about it. We can't. Everybody, the body has how many parts? I don't know how many body parts. I'm going to study that one day. That the body has, and maybe I should ask Siri, and she'd probably tell me right now. But every body part has a responsibility and has a job, and one can't do the others, and some work together closer than the others. Like my hand and this fist, they work really hand in hand together, but they need the brain that's higher up.
I also got to share something else with you, because you spoke at the beginning about awards.
Yes. And so, congratulations on your most recent award.
Well, thank you. And my mentor always said, create proof. So this is my award from 2018.
Right.
From the Canadian Ethnic Media Association Innovation.
They do amazing work.
Yes. And do note, this is the second highest achievement award from that organization. The only thing higher is the lifetime achievement. So when I received it, they only had one more presentation that night, and that was going to John Honderich, who's a longtime man from the Toronto Star.
Right.
That's who I was before. And then so again, relationships. Talk about importance. So this is what I received 2 Wednesdays ago from the Canadian Ethnic Media Association Podcasting News.
Wow.
Here's a funny story. And again, showing the power of relationships. I was blessed enough back in June to be interviewed by a lady named, what's her name again? Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget her name. On CTV News. Oh, why am I forgetting her name? I'm going to have to look it up. But long story short, I was interviewed by a lady on CTV News just about Black fathers and Father's Day. And I feel bad I forget her name, and that's really bad. I should not be forgetting her name. So please forgive me. I'm going to try and look it up. And yeah, I'll take questions if anyone has till the bottom of the hour. So she interviewed me, and and so this is just some of the stuff I do. You can do it if you want. It's up to you. So after the interview, I followed up with her. Thank you, Sarah. Congratulations for all you do. And you need to submit some of your stuff to the Canadian Ethnic Media Association.
Yes.
We need to see you there. I don't want to get any more awards from them. I want you to get some awards from them. All right. So, and if you need the process or need to know how, no problem. So let me just see something. It's bothering me that Angie Seth, that's her name, Angie Seth. So after the interview, I followed up and said, hey, thank you very much for taking the time to be on. And, do you mind if I keep in touch with you and I share some of the stuff I'm doing? Just no problem. So every month I send her links to some of the conversations I do. Well, guess who presented me with my 2020 award virtually?
What?
Angie Seth.
That's powerful.
So when I found that out, I emailed her and said, I was so humbled to get the award from you. She says, when I saw your name on the award, I was so happy for you. And you know what she said? She said, oh, just want to know if you're available this Saturday. I'm having a conversation about children and racism. Would you be available? Bam. So
it's all about relationships and vibes. One of the things and the reason I ask people, like we're about to go into 2021, and some people are, like 2020 can go away, and I'm like, guys, you don't even know what 2021 has in store. Enjoy the rest of 2020. But as we're preparing to go into a new year, a new fiscal year, because my new year doesn't start till my birthday, which is January 7th. Just putting it out there.
There's someone that you and I know that has a birthday the day after. We'll talk about it offline.
Okay. So I love my birthday. So and my son's born on my birthday too. So
that's right.
But here's an opportunity. If you are live, if you're on the replay, I'll come back and visit the show. And if you have a question, but Dr. Vibe is a connector. Is there something that you want to do before the end of this year or into next year that you need connection on or you need some advice on? Because Dr. Vibe, you got him here. You got to ask the question. And let me tell you, and then if you ask the question now, you never know. And next week, we're going to have Mario Armstrong. If you don't know who he is, ooh.
I've known him longer than you, but you go ahead.
I don't want to share about Mario. I want to share about you.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the thing. Vibe has been, like I started the podcast, and Dr. Vibe has been one of those people that has been supporting me behind the scenes, giving me advice. There are a couple other people that when I first started, and I'm going to call it Tristan Barracks and Shirley Joseph from Black Content Creators. And it's all about collaboration, right? And Dr. Vibe has been key, saying to me, listen, you need to start asking. You're not asking. Because I'm so accustomed giving, I'm not asking, and I'll say like, I need collaboration on the show because I do all the technical stuff myself. I'm learning the lighting stuff myself.
You've been doing it for 10 years. So see, when it comes to this stuff, if I have good knowledge on something and I believe in you and you're coming with the right intent, look, I'm here to help you shortcut the shortcut.
Yep. And that's what Vibe has been doing. So, if he thinks I should be listening to something, he will share it. If I don't have time that day, and this is why I say it's so important about relationships. Mm-hmm. And there were two people in particular Dr. Vibe told me about, and I chimed in, and it was just the right time. And it was Danny Stone.
Yes,
Coach Danny Stone. And I started listening to him.
And his wonderful wife too.
And his wonderful wife, Trudy Stone.
Yep.
And she does pieces on City Line, and she does on health.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Danny is a great life coach, and he actually did a really great special the other day on his courses, and I took one for like $29, which is now not going to be $29 after next year. Yeah. And this is why you have to be, sometimes people take the little things for granted, and so Danny Stone was one of those who you connected me with. But then the other person, like, and here is the people that you must have in your life going into 2021. Iron sharpens iron. And who are the iron sharpeners in your life? And I know Vibe is one of those. And then he said, okay, I know you want to do this, 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 and this. And I've been doing this. Listen to Mario Armstrong. I'm like, okay. I'm listening. And I remember one Sunday, Vibe sent a text and said, oh, Mario is on. And he's saying, if you have, and Mario's in the mode of giving right now, he's giving like exponential. It's beyond stupid. And now Mario Armstrong, if you don't know him, is an Emmy award winning. Okay. And so Vibe said, ask a question. So I asked my question. And then the next day, what Mario did is that he answered everybody's question. Now, this is on Instagram, people. And he had an Instagram live for like 3 hours.
3 hours.
And there was no cutoff. This is to tell you who that Mario Armstrong is. There was no like sign back on. It just streamed for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then one day I was listening, and he does these, his story is phenomenal. Tune in next week, he and his wife, Nicole, his wife's name is Nicole.
Yes.
In the red, and they forged true, and they got their vision, and they stuck with it. And then he said one day, so anybody have a question? Listen to what I'm telling you, people. Anybody have an ask? Is there something I can do for you? And I sat there in my little nervous self, because I'm like, this is Mario Armstrong. And I said, and I typed in, would you be on my podcast? And do you know, within an hour, there was a message, a DM message that said, sure. People, I am telling you, ask. The most you can get is no, but the best you can get is yes.
So Sarah has a question. Is that for me, Sarah? Who are the iron sharpened irons in my life?
Hey,
a good question. I have many, but I'll give you, obviously, my dad. Another gentleman, Roger Dundas of Buy Blacks. So you're talking about men or women, or I'll just
because you're iron sharpeners.
Okay, iron sharpeners. There's a gentleman named David Blackman, but you wouldn't know who he is. Jonathan Shaw. I've known Jonathan I've known for about 25, 30 years.
I didn't know he was one of your iron sharpeners. I learned something today.
Yeah. So Wendy, what I need to focus. So those are some of the people. Glenn Barker from the Mankind Project.
Mario Armstrong,
Nicole. Let me tell you something about Mario Armstrong. So the first time I had any sort of encounter with Mario Armstrong was about 6 years ago. He used to do a lot of Periscope lives, and one night he came on and he was walking on the streets of Baltimore. That's where he grew up, Bmore, and he was in a really bad. He was down because for the first time in his life, he had to fire somebody from his company.
Uh-oh.
And I said, I will follow someone that will be that open. And he was asking the audience's input on how should he do it. From that moment, he won me. To the point this year, a 5-year dream, I had a chance during the pandemic crisis. And again, folks, take it if you can. Take advantage of this. The richest man in the United States, Robert Smith, worth $5 billion. 4 or 5 months ago, Don Lemon on CNN was interviewing him, and he said, "Do you have any last words?" He said, "If you can, don't waste this crisis."
And I tell people, find the opportunity in this crisis.
Look,
I'm going to be honest. It's not easy, because there's some days it's tough. There's some days I don't even have the energy to do certain things. And my audio podcast, like November, I did nothing. November, I kept saying I was going to do my audio podcast, which is on, Google Play and everywhere else and all those great places. But I couldn't even produce it. I was only able to produce this once a week.
Yep.
And but it was that time of recognizing you need to sometimes just think and rejuvenate. And Wendy, you're asking a really powerful question, because it's when you have so much to do, and this is where getting the right people, the iron sharpeners in your life. So Wendy is saying, I need to focus down on my next phase. I want to narrow back down. How do I decide when I have so much to share?
So I'm going to have a short answer. And if you want, Wendy, Nicole has my contact information. We'll take it offline. But you are probably like myself and maybe Nicole. We're creatives. We got ideas running all around the place.
And she is, okay, Wendy Jones. If you don't know, do you know Wendy?
No.
Okay, Wendy Jones. Let me just give you a little background in here. Wendy Jones is one of those iconists in our community. She's a teacher.
Yep.
She's a counselor.
Yep.
She's a panist teaching pan.
Yep.
She does mime. She's feeding the children. She's
Yep.
mentoring. And I'm just giving you like 2% of who she is. She actually received one of the 100 Black Women Award. The same
Yep.
did
Yep. Yep.
She has been a staple in Caravana with Erla Pierre. They put on pan shows.
Yep.
They teach the young people. Wendy is my sister friend.
Okay, so Wendy, what I would say, I'd love to continue this offline, but what I'm going to say is, if we get a chance to chat, Pan Queen Extraordinaire, Sarah saying, right?
Yes.
I would say
the woman on the bass. Hey, she has like bass drums around her. Joan Pierre went. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Joan Pierre went 2 years ago, and we went to the pan yard, and Joan painted Wendy's pans.
What?
So
basically what I'm going to say, Wendy, is I'll say this through visually. I mean, audibly, but I can do this offline with you. There is something called an idea chart.
Yes.
Have I sent this to you, Nicole?
I'm still waiting. Don't worry. It soon come. We talk about it, but it's all right.
Okay. So what this, it's there's 5 columns.
Right.
Your first column, you list every idea you have going on. The next column, what are the resources you have available to put that into place right now on a scale of 1 to 5? So if you have all the resources, so for example, I'll use myself as an example. If I wanted to start another online show, I've got the resources already.
Right.
Compared to if I want to write a book, I don't have the resources already.
And let's talk about that book. Go ahead.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 5, if you have a lot of the resources, it's a 5. If you don't have a lot, it's lower, 1 to 5. Next column, ease to implement. How easy would it become live? So again, I'll use myself as an example. If I wanted to launch another show, it's easy. I got the platform set up. I got the equipment, So it's basically, and maybe some planning, but it's not difficult because I've done it before. Then again, 1 to 5. The last column or second last column, how passionate are you to do it? Because if you're not passionate about something, it's going to be an uphill climb.
Yeah.
And as Mary Armstrong says, you've hit the roughest part when it's the easiest to quit.
Woo! You hit the roughest part when it's easiest to quit.
Right? So you have those 3 different columns and you total them up. So for each one of your ideas, you're going to have a number, total number in the last column. So the higher the number, it will give you more clarity. And that's one of my big words, clarity on what you should be doing.
And you see, this is why he is the iron sharpener. Wendy, we need to teach him how to be an Iron Man in a steel band section. We're gonna bring you on as the Iron Man. I'm using my hands, but it's a serious thing to be the Iron Man in a pan section and in the rhythm section.
Yeah.
It's a very intricate thing to be the Iron Man. And
Dr. Vibe, it's here. So Wendy, interesting. Out of all the things I get to share with people, that I just shared with you is probably one of the biggest ones where people go, wow, this is so good for me, because you can put it down on paper and it shows you basically. And remember, none of those columns have anything to do with money.
Yeah.
Right? Implementation, passion, resources. Sure,
passion, resources. Okay. Implementation.
This
is a life coach class right here.
Yeah. This
is what I'm saying. And this is why, okay, so like even starting this podcast, one of the best pieces of advice I got is, Nicole, don't look up the numbers.
Don't.
Just do the show. Just start talking. because
don't get good, get done.
yeah. And don't get good, get done. Hallelujah. Sound like a
right?
Don't get good, get done.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Bob.
That you're doing it, right? Because everyone you do gets easier, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you know what? Even tonight, coming out of my comfort zone and using a different platform. So normally I use Zoom to do my interviews, and Dr. Vibe knows StreamYard. So I said, okay, this would be a great place to use StreamYard with somebody who knows it.
Smart. And I can marry that story. People said, "Oh, you're so comfortable doing." Thank you, Sarah. You're so comfortable doing live streams and that. Look, there was a time I didn't want to show this on the screen, right? But I was strategic. The first time I did one of these, God, it's maybe about 6 years ago, and I purposely scheduled it for New Year's Day. I said, I'm going to do my first one on New Year's Day to kick off a new year. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it by myself. So what I was able to do was to bring on with me the person who had the most downloaded podcasts in my journey at that time, who had a worldwide social media audience combined on different platforms of over 15,000 people.
Wow. See, smart. And you see, this is the kind of advice that, we've had this great conversation. And I call it an epic conversation. And hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I get to talk to, a friend, a brother, a mentor, Dr. Vibe, and we all have them, and we all need mentors for every part of our lives. And we all need to have these epic conversations. Don't get good, get done. Yeah, that's his, Sarah. I tell you, he says that all the time. I say to him, I can't wait for the book on quotes to come out, because he always has some of the best quotes. And I'm going to give my 10% royalty. Okay.
Can I give you a Mario story?
I'm taking 10%.
Can I give you a Mario story?
Yes.
Strategic. Yes, Sarah. During this year, I had a 5-year dream come true. I got to interview Mario Armstrong.
Wow.
And here's the funny thing. I was strategic again because he opened up a whole pile of slots, but I had deliberately took the last slot.
That's strategic.
Why would I do that, Nicole?
Because you have the last word, and the last word stays.
Yes. And there's another reason. I took my time to watch all the other conversations and saw what wasn't being asked.
Ooh.
So when I came on with him, plus we had been corresponding digitally for a number of years. So I did my research, right? So originally it was only supposed to be 30 minutes. It was an hour. He said, I got time. Ask away. To the point where one of the questions stumped him. He called his wife up to answer it. She didn't come on camera, but she came up and she goes, hello, dear. How are you? I was so humbled.
Listen.
And you know what the funny thing is? I at the back, I can't be like in Toronto. We have something called City Pulse.
Yeah,
I can't be everywhere. I have not released that conversation publicly, but I'm going to do that as my Christmas gift to the world. That conversation.
That is amazing.
Because he shares some of his story, and people know, but he gets even deep. Like one of the questions I asked him, I said, "What was your first?" One of the things that he does, and Nicole, his wife, does, is whenever they have a victory, they go, "Yes." Doesn't matter where they are in the house.
Yeah.
They're with each other. Nadine Wong. Hello, Nadine. How are you?
Yeah. Hi, Nadine.
So I asked Mario, what was your first yes moment? And I stumped him. He was thinking there. He was in his shoe closet. And he goes, Nicole, can you come up here? So he called her up, and she said, yes, goes, yeah, that was right. That was really big. So research is important, people. Another little nugget. When I had my first conversation with Dove Men Care, their advertising agency, because I'm a representative of Dad Central, Canada's national father organization. I do monthly online broadcasts that are sponsored by Dad Central and Dove Men Care. But this was in the preliminary stages. That's a whole story in itself, but I get down to the chase because of time. So I'm speaking with these 3 representatives over the phone from their PR agency, and they were grilling me questions for 45 minutes. Bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang, bang. So at the end of the conversation, they said, "Do you have any questions for us?"
I love this story. I love this. Hold on. If you're not writing, get the pen and paper out, because the question here.
And I'm going to add 2 layers onto it.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you're in a situation and you're pitching an idea to a client, organization, etc., this was my question for the PR agency who represents Dove Men Care. And there were 3 ladies over a phone. I had never met them before. They asked me questions for 45 minutes. This is my question to them. And if you don't believe it, I actually recorded the conversation. So I have proof of this. If you don't believe me, I have proof. I asked the ladies this question. Hey, you're the PR agency representing Dove Men Care. Yes, we are. What are your 3 biggest challenges dealing with Dove Men Care?
Mm-hmm.
The phone went silent for 30 seconds. And they, you know what their response was? That's a good question. I'm glad that was a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the method in my madness was the reason why I asked that question is I want to be, again, a solution to one of their problems.
Right. Right.
So if I can lighten their load, that means that I can be an asset and they'll work with me.
I love that.
So here's another question. If you can get to it. Yes, crickets, Wendy, crickets, yes. Right? And that's not a 6. That was a 6, right, Wendy? That was a 6. Right? So here's the next question. If you can ask the person, hey, if I'm able to help you solve this problem, what difference will it make with your job?
And drop the mic, walk out the door, and just sit there.
Right?
What difference would it make about your job? Because now it shows that you care about not getting the job.
Yeah,
but
right.
Really about what matters.
I want to make your life easier. So they'll say, "Oh yeah, well, you know what? My boss would think really good of me. Maybe able to do some more projects. Good. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to make the project look good, but I'm also here to make you look good."
Yep. And that right there is, did I not tell you people this was an epic conversation? I think we have shown that this is an epic conversation. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So,
we've touched on mental health, we've touched on fatherhood, we've touched on Black men, we've touched on men, we've touched on women supporting men, we've touched on business, we've touched on, holy smoly, Batman. You become the Iron Man in Wendy's new Iron Man in Wendy's pan side.
And something else. Do note, I'm taking advantage of this this pandemic. I have started 3 new online conversations this year. Black Canada Talking, which is on every Sunday afternoon,
right
at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And what's Black Canada Talking? Well, CBC Radio for years and years have their thing on 5 p.m. Eastern Time called Cross Country Checkup. So I said, you know what? Why don't we feature Black Canadians at 5 p.m. Eastern Time? Yep. So that's one thing. The next conversation, Black Men Talking, one-on-one conversations with Black men and myself. And believe it or not, in the next 2 weeks, another new conversation is going to be started with one of the persons that Nicole has mentioned tonight, and another person.
You see, this is what it is. You know, this is time to come out of your comfort zone. You know, you just need one good person in your lane, and if that good person is you, but if you have one good person to help you pivot, like I know, like the person who helped me even really press this forward. And it's funny, she hasn't been on the show yet, but she's probably going to end the year with the show, because she's the one who really pressed me to just do it, was Nicole Coco.
Yes.
Lorraine Vieira. My name's
yes.
And so Coco Lorraine. Really
can I go ahead, finish. I got a suggestion for the people out there.
To do this show. And I'm so grateful that I have been allowed to have these conversations, and hopefully people are inspired just the way that by the people that inspire me.
Thank you, Sarah, for your kind words. I really appreciate your support. And you have a home anytime you want to come on the platform. You know that. And that's, again, one of the victories I've had this year is to get to know and respect and amplify Sarah.
And you know what, Sarah, and I'm going to say this publicly. If you're looking to figure out what's happening in Ottawa, if you're looking to figure out what's just happening in our community, Sarah is a
hey, Ottawa and Sarah are synonymous. Leave it at that. I'm going to make one other.
Even just working in Ottawa, Sarah was my girl, still is. And but what I really love, Sarah, and I'm going to try and do this without crying, is that
cry if you have to.
Sarah has basically, I think, listened to every show that I have put on.
Your support. Sarah, your support
you have no clue what that support means, Sarah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna piggyback on that. Your support is so appreciated. Your passion, because I don't think it's work for you. Your passion, at least coming from both of us, I hope I can speak for both of us, is so much appreciated, not taken for granted. And we are here to amplify you. You're a very modest lady, but you do great things.
Listen,
so please know that.
Sarah, you're young and you're not here, but I'm going to say it live. Sarah,
I got to know.
I think you really deserve, yes, I'm Gatineau, where I lived and I spoke no French. You really deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award, because what you do now is the plethora of work that you do now is lifetime achievable. That it will take people a lifetime to do. And I hope you hear that today. And we're going to have you on the show. Yes,
I'm going to push Nicole.
You don't have to push me too hard.
Okay. All right.
Hold on, Vibe. 1 second. Two things. Sarah says, love Black Canada talking way better than cross-country checkup.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I saw earlier Nadine Wong came on, so just want to say happy birthday to Nadine. Yesterday was her birthday, so Dr. Wong, happy birthday.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. And I'm going to make one last suggestion.
Go ahead.
This is the whole area of
Should I be afraid?
This is in the whole area of asking for help that we talked about earlier, right? Dr. Vibe is not City Pulse. He can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
And long story short, if you need it, reach out to co-op programs. This summer, I was blessed enough to have a gentleman who did all my video editing. And that took a light off my load. And it gave me an opportunity to start and do more conversations because I didn't have to concern myself about. Now, I've been blessed enough that I just had some conversations again with another gentleman, Black young man, who's going to be starting next Monday to do audio and video editing. And what was very interesting, though, is they said, I need your mentorship.
That's powerful. And, we've had this conversation because you've been telling me about this, and I know that's the next step. And, so we're going to wind down. And
yes, we have to, because I got to go on a Twitter chat from the States in about 15 minutes.
Okay. So here's how we're going to wind down. What's next for Dr. Vibe, and anything we can do to help you in your next phase?
Well, that's next for me is, I announced it tonight, the Global Food and Drink Initiative, being the board chair there. And we'll certainly be, me, myself, and Cherie and the team, keep a watch, follow me if you can on whatever social media platform that we'll be rolling that out. What you can do for me, work on getting a little bit better each day and give yourself grace.
That's amazing.
That's what I would like you. And if you have a question, please don't be afraid to ask, because if I can't answer it, I've spent over 10 years online building a community, not a tribe, a community that I can probably get it answered by somebody. So give yourself grace, work on getting a little bit better each day. And before the end of this week, I want you to call someone that you've not spoken with in the last year.
And check in.
Do the check-ins.
And ask, and here's the question Dr. Vibe said to us today. He asked,
good?
How is your heart?
How is your heart?
How's your heart?
Yeah. How's your heart? Just ask them that. Because again, we don't have, maybe if Nicole has that, I did that one time and it prevented someone committing suicide.
You never know. Don't mistake, because you never know who's feeling what. And it's so important that you really check in. And Sarah is saying co-op programs are a great way to groom the next generation of producers, technicians, and content creators. And I'm telling you, I am looking for co-op.
Talk to me.
Yes, I am talking to you.
Okay,
but
because
we have a
well, the thing is, we can discuss offline on this, but when I was up in Yellowknife back in March, that's when I started my conversations with someone at Centennial College. Since then, and it finally came to fruition. And you know what the lady said to me, the representative from the department says, I really appreciate how you've been consistent.
Yeah.
And I said, what? And I said, look, if you ever want me to come in virtually or in person and speak with your students about my online journey, so that would be a great idea. No problem. Thank you so much. So, if you have, if you feel you're at that level and you need that help, make a list of the 3 areas that you need the most help in.
Make a list.
Right. And reach out to your colleges. And if you want, I can even help you with that. Another thing for people, do you have testimonials?
Yeah.
Right? Ask for them, because credibility leads to profitability. Even better, it's all right if you get them via email, but if you can get them video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now after every conversation I've always done it for the last 4 years, but now I'm saying I have my blurb for asking for testimonials. If you want it, I can share it with you. Right. And it says, really enjoy the conversation. Replay will be up and I'll inform you. If you're comfortable, could you please give me a testimonial? And I put in brackets, video preferred, but text is always good. And they say, well, how can I do a video testimonial? I say, you have one of these?
Yeah.
Right? Say 30 seconds, send it to me. Done. The video testimonial has more power, has more impact. Oh, Nicole, do you ever heard of the book Wild at Heart?
No.
We'll talk about it. I had a chance to, it was a very big men's book many, many years ago. And I had a conversation with the gentleman who wrote that. And the funny thing is too, if you do live stuff, and Sarah's good at this, have those pre-conversations if you can.
Right.
Because this author, John Eldridge, very much one of the big books of all time.
Yeah.
He came on, we chatted for 5 minutes. I said, hey, I'm part of another men's group. Would you be interested? Would you be available to do an interview for them? Sure. So I was going to be doing a conversation, and he's already booked another conversation with me.
And that's a powerful thing. Well, for those of you guys on the live, on the replay, this is Victory Speaks, and I put it up there because these inspired conversations about having victory, speaking victory, walking in victory, and Victory Speaks is a sentence. It's not just a tagline. It's about being intentional of speaking victory in your life and living a victorious lifestyle. My guest today has been Dr. Vibe of the Dr. Vibe Show, who has had over 2,000 epic conversations. And I thank you for coming on to the show here. And I tell you, it is important that we have inspired conversations every day. Sometimes that conversation will take on a smile. Sometimes that conversation will just, take on a wave. But be intentional in the conversations you're having today. Stop. Ask for help. Give someone help. And in this season where life has been hard for so many, and we've had great victories in the midst of all the ups and downs, and many of us have been fortunate enough to find the opportunities in the crisis. I thank each and every one of you for, tuning in. I thank each and every one of you for taking the time on Mondays to tune in.
Nicole.
Yes, Dr. Vibe.
I'm going to put one last thing out. People, next week, Monday night.
That's at 5. It's actually going to be at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. If you can catch the bombs that are going to be dropped on this platform next Monday night, believe me, if you catch it live and you're not happy, come to me and I'll give you a refund.
Listen, Mario.
Look, don't.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say.
I'm gonna one last thing with Mario. This is how much of a giver he is. A few months ago, he was on an Instagram live. During the Instagram live, he said, "Hey, anyone have any questions? Jump on." So I jumped on, right? Sometimes it's good to be the first.
Yep.
Right? So we had a digital relationship, and I said, "Hey, how you doing, Mario?" etc. And we were chatting a little bit, and he said, "Dr. Vibe, I'm gonna put out something, and if you can take it if you want." I said, "Go ahead, Mario." I said, "Look, I'm giving you permission to put my name on anything you're proposing to do."
That is epic.
So this is a gentleman, Emmy Award winner, appears on the Today Show on a regular basis, who, when he launched his online show, it was sponsored by FedEx, and it was broadcast on the Entrepreneur Magazine platform. This man has credibility beyond belief, but you know what? He's willing to serve. He asked people to DM him. He asked people.
He does.
Right?
I'm telling you, people.
Don't miss next. Do not mix next Monday.
I don't know what's going to happen in next week's conversation, but you have the opportunity to prepare. If you have questions you want to ask,
I'm telling you.
Send DM me and send me those questions. Yeah, if you've never heard Mario, he does some quick clips on Instagram. Mario Armstrong, and
on Instagram at Mario Armstrong. Yep. And I'll tell you, his wife is the CEO of the company.
Yep.
And she is a brilliant lady.
And her name is Nicole. I'm just saying.
Yes, her name is Nicole. So I'm saying, if you get a chance, I'm gonna be there. I ain't missing it, because I know there's something he's gonna say that I haven't heard him say before. And I've been riding with him for a while, but I listen to because he has a value. Look, this man many years ago went to Richard Branson's island. Yes, the Richard Branson's island.
And so for those of you who are prayer warriors out there, I need you to pray for me and for this conversation and for Mario and his wife and their family. Mm-hmm. They're doing a lot. He's giving a lot in this season. And I know if the podcast ended with just Mario Armstrong and I never did another podcast,
you're good.
I'm good.
You're good. You're good.
And I'm not just saying this because I want you to tune in. I'm saying this because I want you all to benefit from what is about to be dropped next week, Monday. And the fact that he said yes to someone, I am not Oprah. I am not this man. And, as Vibe said, he's been friends with Mario for a long time. I just met Dr. Vibe. I just met
Mario. Yep.
Through Dr. Vibe.
Look, she got in a few minutes. It took me 5 years.
Right.
So I'm telling you.
But the word is not the word, even though I know I'm going to learn, the word is not just for me. And it says many are called and few are chosen. So if you hear the call, it's now your choice if you want to tune in. So,
exactly.
And next year, we all need to pivot. We're all going into different things. Now we have Dr. Gloria Small on the line. Congratulations, Gloria, on your achievement. And so, Wendy, you're transitioning. You're adding more onto your plate. You've been a teacher. Sarah, you're doing great, phenomenal things. I don't know what's in store for you next year. And I'm talking to those people that are still on the live. But this conversation right here is for you. This is what happens when Dr. Vibe and I roll. We have had conversation. We've done spontaneous lives on Instagram that have changed people's lives, and that's why I'm still here.
Yep, and this is the thing. And if
you have 2 minutes before you have.
And again, I can monitor on my tablet. I don't know. Okay. I can multi-purpose. I don't use multitask. I can multi-purpose. I don't. But as I say to people, especially if you're in transition, he is one of the best people right now.
Yes.
That you can speak with. And I'm telling you, in my acceptance speech for the CME Award this year, I only had 60 seconds. I thanked my wife, I thanked BIA Media, who does my production, and I thanked two families. The Dundas family, Roger Camille, Chase, and Marley, and the Armstrong family, Mario, Nicole, and Christopher, and the Never Settled community.
Yeah.
So that is who I thank. So that should tell you something right there. And again, Nicole said, don't worry about numbers. Just do it. I don't have big numbers. Like on all social media platforms, I probably don't have, I have like 8,000 or 9,000 people. That's it. But I'm in the front of the camera for Dove Men Care.
Yeah.
I'm in the midst of doing a sponsorship proposal for a major Canadian institution.
Yeah.
So those are the type of questions. Definitely next week, people, someone ask about sponsorship.
Oh my God, that's going to be.
And I know Mario's working on a course for that because he gets that question, but he's a master of sponsorship. He, in his media business, 80% of the income he brings in is from sponsorship.
And Wendy, you're going to love that one. I know, Wendy, you're going to love that one. And I'm just, you know,
80%. Like before the pandemic, he would go to conference. He would MC at conferences and get paid minimum. I'm saying minimum $25,000.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know, in Trinidad and in some parts of the world, they have the word called lanyap. This is the lanyap of the conversation. A little extra, you know.
Yeah. So I'm telling you,
for those who stayed on here, this part of the conversation was definitely for you. And if you for some reason something happens and you have to catch the replay, but I really do hope you can catch the live. And if you have the questions, I say to you, ask the questions. And if you're, you know, those of you listening on the live right now, I know that you know how to find me. But if you're listening on the replay, it's Richard Speaks 7 on Twitter and on Instagram. You know, the Dr. Vibe Show, you can find him on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. And, you know, we really thank you for going the mile, for staying with us.
You know what? Actually, someone said you and I are Googleicious.
Oh gosh, Googleicious! Hey, hey. You know, find something to make the season bright. If you have any tips, if you have any questions. Yesterday on my playlist, drop what's on your playlist. We have so many things happening in this season and in this hour for your mental health, for your wellness. Have those inspired conversations. Find the quote, find the music. Yesterday I was listening to Richard Bona, and he had, if you've never heard Richard Bona, let me tell you, he had a rendition of redemption songs by Bob Marley that I played like 10 times because you're getting it not in English. I'm just telling you, just tune in, go in. So now I'm going to end this conversation saying thank you, thank you, thank you.
God bless. God bless. Peace to you all. Keep the faith. Walk good. And again, remember, give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace. Have some self-compassion.
Yeah.
We're gonna end up with a little music coming in from Calabash, Anthony Pierre's band with, you know, Darren Shepherd on the steel drums. And I gotta make sure I list out all the musicians, but go check them out. Kalabash. This is from Whence We Came, wishing the Pierres a happy 43rd wedding anniversary that they just celebrated a couple days ago. Thank you for tuning in. This is Nicole Waldron, Victory Speaks, Dr. Vibe, the Dr. Vibe Show. Hope you guys are doing well. Rest well tonight. Peace, love, and we will hopefully see you next week and next time.
Oh, you better be back next week. I'm watching.
We're both watching. Take care.